Nintendo is not your friend. They are not the good guys. They are no different from Microsoft and Sony. This is not a Nintendo bashing video, by the way. So much Nintendo Switchy news, right? And I have to kind of try different methods to get your attention. More importantly, I just want it to be clear for people that have somehow missed this, that Nintendo is no different from everyone else. It is a business, and it's ran quite effectively. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the channel, I am Ryofu. This is the Gaming Harbinger. We talk about anime news. We talk about gaming news. I do reviews, and every now and then we go to conventions. If that sounds remotely intriguing to you, please consider subscribing. By the way, I'm going to let you know now, no intro. We're just going to dive right into this. So real quickly, I will answer a question for you. You're wondering, what do I think of all of this madness? So I'm going to just throw one out there. I really don't think this is controversial, what I'm about to say, but the price of the actual system is good. I think it's a very fair price. Now, when it comes to the actual games and me buying an $80 Nintendo Switch 2 title, I'm not jumping for joy at that. But I would say for me, one of the things that I've always disliked about Nintendo is that their games never go down in price. And I will say this, that at least throughout the years, we've had people that have criticized Nintendo on this. So it's not something that's never been said out loud. People have been saying it, but most people are like, hey, well, they make good games. So, they give them a pass pretty much. That's essentially what's happening here. But when you think about paying $80 and then that game might possibly stay $80 for 6 years or whatever, yeah, it sounds not so good. Now, when you ask me, how do I feel about just black and white paying $80 for a game? I don't know where some of you have been, but I've already been doing that. There's already been some games, not every game, but there's already been some games that I've paid $80 for. There's already been some games I paid $100 for. There's even been games I paid $150 for. And yes, I'm talking about bonus features and stuff like that. But there's also another side of it. I paid $100 for a game over 30 years ago when I was still in high school. So granted, it was a different time then. It was a little more of the Wild West, so to speak. But it's like, it's not foreign to me. It's not this wild, crazy idea. However, I will acknowledge that I do feel for people, especially people that are like in big families, and they have to make a decision. We getting one game, baby. We getting one. We're not getting two. We're not getting three. We're getting one. So everybody got to like this game. All right. Mario Kart, done. Easy. Call it a day. Merry Christmas. That's it. That's all you get. But it's gonna be challenging for some people. It's gonna be very challenging for some families, and they have to make a decision on buying this one game, this one lone game, or maybe two if they're feeling wild and crazy. And to further complicate things, we have the situation with the tariffs. And I mean, to be honest with you, the way I feel about it is this. I mean, if they raise the price and the system is now $100 more, I might not be happy about that, but I'll probably still get it. If it's more than that, it's very simple. I just won't get it immediately. Done. Easiest decision of the day. I mean, what else can you say? It's not that hard. And I know people don't like to hear this, but I am going to say it out loud for the people that miss this. Video games, luxury item. It's not sustenance. You don't have to have this, even though it feels like it. Even though, yeah, I'm a gamer. I love video games. I've been playing them for years, but I don't need them. And trust me, I have a lot of games on the backlog. It'll be okay. Now here's the part where I'm going to go a little left field on you guys. So I'm very curious if any of you have read the book Console Wars by Blake J. Harris. Now, this book is essentially covering the console wars between Nintendo and Sega in the 90s. Now, in fairness, this is mainly from the perspective of the guy that was running Sega of America at the time, Tom Kalinske. And it's actually a very fascinating collection of stories and tidbits and accounts of what his experience was. But keep in mind, it is coming from the Sega perspective. It's not coming from Nintendo's perspective. But what I find fascinating about this is that there are actually stories in there where it's explaining to you that at the time, Nintendo was charging third-party devs a certain fee, right? That fee essentially became the norm. However, they were also applying a couple of restrictions on the devs, like they could only make so many games a year. And not only that, they had to get the seal of approval from Nintendo. So you remember that little seal back in the day? Every third-party dev had to work to get it. That also means that they did not make money off of the games until it was literally on store shelves and the game was selling. It was kind of the Wild West back then, and you had to wait and see. And let's pretend for a minute you made a game. Maybe there were bugs. Maybe Nintendo just didn't find the mechanics that fun. Back to the drawing board you go, and you're still not paid yet. You don't know if you have a hit on your hands. You don't know if it's a terrible idea. You don't have any idea if the game is going to work or not. But you got to keep going to see this thing through. And by the way, I'm not saying that this made Nintendo monsters or anything like that, but it's just to give you perspective. These guys were never angels to begin with. It's just insane. And we've always looked at Nintendo with rose-tinted glasses. Just to make another connection with all of this, because you're probably wondering like, okay, so Nintendo had all these restrictions. They're charging third-party publishers this much and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what's the big deal? Well, that's essentially how Sega was able to slither their way in, because Tom Kalinske was like, hey, I'm going to pull up on these, not his words, my words. He's like, hey, I'm going to pull up on these third-party devs and say, hey, come over to us, make a game on the Sega Genesis, and you won't have to pay as much. And not only that, no restrictions. You can make as many games as you want for a system. As a matter of fact, please do. Please do. We want lots of your games. And this is how they were able to get more companies to come along to Sega Genesis. And some might even argue that this was how essentially we got the whole like, hey, you're not just making a game for Nintendo and that's it. Or, hey, you're not just making a game for Sega. You got to make games for both. And this is what kind of, I guess you could say, slowed down Nintendo a bit, because then they were under pressure and they're like, okay, fine. You can make games for us and you can also make games for them. Anyways, like I was saying, the name of the book is called Console Wars, and it's by Blake J. Harris. You should really check it out, especially if you grew up during that time period, or if you're just a big Sega head. Then you will enjoy this. And like I said, I'm sharing this to you because it gives a little perspective on how things were done back then, and also like gives you insight like, okay, Nintendo, they weren't saints. So now I want to take a moment to discuss a beloved CEO of the time in 2014, Satoru Iwata. Now, Iwata-san was the CEO of Nintendo at the time, and there was this story that came out that, Wii U was doing horribly back then. According to the legend, Iwata-san took a pay cut, and this was not a simple pay cut. This was half of his pay, just so there would be no layoffs in Nintendo. Now, through and through, that's a good thing, right? The story came to light years later, and then it was like, wait a minute. There's a supposed law where CEOs in Japan, if their company is not doing well, the last ditch effort is for a CEO to take a pay cut. Now, here's the thing with that. That also turned out to be not true. There is not a law in Japan. But here's the thing. If anybody is familiar with Japanese culture, or you knew someone that has worked in Japan, here's the thing with that. Let's give an example. Let's give a concrete example. You, the viewer, you are the senpai, and I am the kohai. Your boss comes up to you and says, hey, this project's got to get done. So throughout this week, every day you're going to stay till this time to get it done. So you're going to stay 2 hours over every day of this week. In Japan, the culture is, as the kohai, I'm like, I can't just let senpai just like do all this by himself. I'm going to help him. And that's what you're going to do. And that is kind of what is expected for you to do as the underling. In the words of Morpheus, you always have a choice, right? But if I choose not to help you, it doesn't look good on me amongst my peers. It doesn't look good for me to do that amongst you, the senpai. But if I do stick around and help you, shows me in a positive light. That is reflected to you, and it's also reflected to the other people that I work with. Oh, look at him. Oh, that's so good. Now they're getting more work done. That's awesome. Yes, more work. On the surface level, that sounds nice, but that's also why Japan is known for having this very extreme work culture where people are simply just very overworked, never taking vacations. And then if they do take a vacation and it's at a bad time, it's kind of frowned upon. Now, with everything I just told you, yeah, there is not a law in place where he has to take half his pay. But guess what? That pressure, that societal and business pressure in Japan exists. And he knows that, yeah, there's not a law. It is in my best interest to do this. And then I look good. The company looks good. People like my underlings are not stressed out about losing their jobs. This is all a net positive. And it was, because us outsiders see it and we're like, oh man, what an amazing guy. Look at, how come we can't have more CEOs like him? Ubisoft, do you see what's going on here? EA, get it together. Come on, guys. Come on. I'm just going to say, in case you can't tell, like, I really do adore Nintendo. I think they make quality products. And even though I think sometimes they've been ruthless, I will say that the intentions behind what they're doing is good. I would say they want to be known for making quality products. And that is absolutely a good thing. Last thing we're going to discuss real quick is the whole key card situation. So I think the biggest thing with the key card thing is that you can in fact sell your key card back. You can in fact resell it to someone, whether that's reselling it to GameStop or that's reselling it on eBay or whatever. The whole reselling thing is kind of cool. Like, let's put it this way. This is better than buying a game digitally, because if you buy a digital version, that is yours. In the discussion, that's that. But if you're buying a keycard version, you can resell that. Now, I want to be clear here that I understand that if you are a collector, which by the way changes the conversation completely, because your mission objective is totally different than the average consumer. But let's just pretend for a minute, if you're a collector, I totally understand you not liking this and not being down for this. So this is the one time we can give props and praise to people in social media or YouTubers that are out right now and say, hey, people were on Nintendo's ass about, hey, what's going on here? Like, I bought the game, I bought the physical version, but I'm literally downloading like 90% of the game. What the hell is this? Think about this for a second. Like, Nintendo has already been doing key cards. Nintendo was low-key doing the key cards from the get-go, son. They were already in that. Now they just gave it a name. Good job, Nintendo. There have been people that have been making videos talking about this, thinking it's totally not right. It's not cool because the actual game isn't on the card. And you know what? They're right. They're absolutely right. So let's say I'm buying an $80 game. Does that mean the full game is on there? Right? And then when I buy the key card game, I'm getting it at a cheaper price, right? If those two things are as I just said it, as I just put it out there, that's a decent deal. But if they're selling at any point an $80 game, and let's just pretend it's something massive, it's a huge game. I can't think of anything. Okay, I'll just throw out Starfield, right? So Starfield is coming to the Switch 2, but the download is so big. And now they're like, okay, it's just going to be a download because it doesn't fit on the card, but it's going to be an $80 game. And yeah, you're still going to have to download all of it. Regarding the whole tariff situation, the way I feel about it is pretty simple. If they decide they have to raise the price, $150 more, then I'm just not going to get one for a while. And guess what? It's as simple as how I just said it. I'm not going to sit around here and hyper analyze or make 6 videos on it. It's like it's done. There's nothing else to discuss. Either I can afford it or I can't afford it. So I think that's everything I have for you today. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Think about subscribing to this team. And I would say, above everything else, the takeaway for the video is just that, hey, Nintendo is not your buddy. They aren't the good guys, but they're also not the bad guys. There are no bad guys. There are just people that are making a product and trying to sell it to you. That's it. Don't read too deeply into this. If you think the price is too expensive for you, don't buy it. It's that simple. If you think the key cards are ridiculous, don't buy them. All right, it's been real. It's been great. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.